and providing a preliminary project plan, a finance plan prepared by the city's TERS administrator pursuant to Chapter 311 Tax Code MuniCap. I will open the public hearing at 6:02 PM. Do we have any general presentation prior to our public?
We have one speaker for the public
We
hearing?
do have one speaker.
We'll let Ms. Hannah
Yes.
speak, and then we can
Ms.
probably...
Hannah, if you would like to.
KJ Hanna, 177 Melbourne Drive. Mayor, council, staff, and neighbors. Is there any debt taken by the city for the Bell TERS 2, like the city debt taken for the Bell PID? How does this financial TERS arrangement affect the city's credit debit rating and affect the city's ability to raise debt for other city developments and projects now and in the future? How will this financial TERS arrangement affect Willow Park citizens who are not in the boundaries of the Bell development? And where is the answer to this in the TERS document? In addition, I'm glad to see what's behind on the screen. The background TERS statement for agenda item number 4 states MuniCap, the city's PID and TERS administrator. Who is MuniCap? When was MuniCap established as the city's PID and TERS administrator? I can find no reference in the search of the City of Willow Park website to MuniCap, although I did find a website for MuniCap Inc., a public finance company out of Maryland. And most importantly, why is the city choosing to create a TERS 2 board for the Bell development consisting of all city council members and mayor instead of a citizen board like the TERS Board 1? The Wilkes TERS 1 has 1 city council member and then has citizens for the other five board positions. Why does the city need to remove citizen participation from the Bell development project? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Would you like to address any of those?
Jennifer, you want to give the brief history of MuniCap and who you are and...
So MuniCap, we are a public finance company. We do have an office in Maryland. That's where our corporate office is. We became the PID and TERS administrators in the last year, October of 24. So, and we're going to be here to assist with anything related to the TERS or anything related to any public improvement districts that y'all create or issue debt or have any assessment levies for.
Okay. So what does the PID administrator do? I know you asked that question a couple weeks ago. KJ? So there's a number of functions they've done. Most of them are helping creating the ordinance that we're going to adopt tonight. There's also a public, what we call the PIP or PIF. It's the plan, it's the financing plan for the TERS itself. They've helped create that, and they worked with the developers team to develop that so we can have the ordinance to go forward with the TERS. But most importantly, there's reporting that is going to have to be under the comptroller. Reporting to the comptroller. They will do that reporting for us. In the past, Kyle has done, or the Wilkes Development has done their own reporting to the comptroller. The way that TERS was set up, it's mainly done through the CAD. So to get to your second point about the TERS board, most of those activities have been completed, and so there's really nothing to report to a TERS board to do. The payments we're contractually obligated to provide the TERS refunds to Wilkes Development, and so those payments are made in a timely manner, usually around April of every year.
And also on the TERS for the Wilkes development, as I recall years ago when that was originally set up, it was a similar structure, board members, we're mayor and council members, and over time, when things get developed and move along, then we start refining that, so.
Yes. The original TERS board had, I think, 9 members on it. It had a city engineer, it had the city attorney, and I know you had some quorum issues because you can't, you gotta get so many people there. And then it was refined in 2019. This board will be, and it's perfectly acceptable to have the council and the mayor as the board of directors of the TERS. It's easier to meet that way. And by and large, there is citizen participation. It's an open meeting. They will be available and will be transparent with packets and any information to the TERS board. So I'm dancing around some other stuff. Let me just kind of go down your list real quick. The TERS does not actually have any debt. So the TERS is in a tax increment reinvestment zone, so it does not produce debt. What it does is it offsets property taxes. That does not affect your credit or debt rating at all. So that's not relevant at all. How will this financially arrangement affect the citizens? So the TERS is only much like TERS number 1, Kyle Wilkes. It's a tax reduction for whatever the zone is. So I'm just going to call it whatever square is on the map. They're going to receive a property tax reduction pursuant to the ordinance for a time period, I think 30 years or 40 years, one of the two. So it doesn't really impact the rest of the residents. We've already covered who MuniCap is. We've already covered who the board is. And your next questions are related to, I'm looking at the second page. Yeah. Yep.
All right, any other
questions?
discussion during the public hearing? All right, I will close the public hearing at 6:08 PM. The next item on the agenda is discussion and approval of city council meeting minutes for the regular meeting, January 14th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve city council minutes of January 14th, 2025 as presented.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is discussion and approval of city council meeting minutes, special meeting, January 23rd, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the city council special meeting minutes, January 23rd, 2025.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Greg? Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Excuse me.
Thank you. All right, item number 4, consideration and take appropriate action on the creation of a tax increment reinvestment zone. Number 2, the zone consisting of approximately 317 acres of land generally located south of IH-20, west of FM 1187, and north of East Bankhead Highway within the extraterritorial limits of the city of Willow Park, authorizing issuance of notice and providing a preliminary project plan and finance plan prepared by the city's TERS administrator pursuant to Chapter 311 Tax Code MuniCap. Now we do have Ms. Hannah's public comments? No.
Before-
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Jennifer, you want to?
All right, good evening again, Mayor and Council. Again, my name is Jennifer Sloan. I'm with MuniCap. We're your TERS administrator. So I'm here to present to you this evening the proposed tax increment reinvestment zone number 2, City of Willow Park, Texas. So I just want to kind of start, y'all may have already been kind of informed a little bit about a TERS. Y'all have got a TERS, but just kind of as a background, a TERS is just a public financial mechanism that allows for public improvements to be funded through the issuance of bonds or any other debt obligations by the local municipality. Again, TERS are created by ordinance. So when a TERS district is created, the base value and year is set. As development occurs, the assessed value from that development increases. So over time, that allows for increments, that difference between the assessed value and the base value to be generated. Those increments are placed into a TIF fund and can be used as guided by the project and finance plan. At the end of the term, Again, all additional assessed values for that zone will be belong back to the city. All right, so here we have the map of the proposed boundaries of the zone. This again is in the extraterritorial area of the city, about 317 acres. City participation is set to be 65% of the M&O portion of the ad valorem tax rate and 50% of the INS portion. And the TERS is meant to do two things. It's to be used as an offset for PID assessments for the Belledine Ranch Public Improvements District. That's about 50% of the M&O. And then economic development grants for projects within the zone are the 15% of the M&O and 50% of the INS. Development is proposed to be a mix of residential and commercial. And as you see in the table, you see the mix of single-family residential, multifamily residential, and a variation of commercial spaces and office spaces. Here are your proposed costs, project costs. These include the project costs for the public improvements that are to be built in the zone, along with a cap of $25 million on the economic development grants per the development agreement. And here, the first table, we have the total projected assessed values, and I do apologize, that should be 2063, not 2054. So as of 2063, we have a projected assessed value of $799,447,313. The base value is 0. That is because it is not currently in the city of Willow Park. And so therefore, the incremental value anticipated is $799,447,313. So this next table, we're going to look at the projected assessed value at build-out. It's anticipated to have the build-out completed in 2037, and therefore, we expect that to be at the point of full assessed value. So we have City of Willow Park, the M&O portion jurisdiction, to have $483,320,249, with the main things being here of the incremental value as of January 31st or 1st of 2039 of $982,933. And then we have the projected incremental tax revenue available for projects of $638,907. For the INS, we have the $1,107,649,000 that's due on January 31st, and then available for project costs of $553,825. And again, this is only at 2039. That's only the amount collected in that particular year. That's not a cumulative amount. And then, so this is looking at over the life of the TERS. So first we look for the M&O, we have $36,874,470. That is the incremental amount for that M&O portion. We have 65% participation, so therefore that amount goes to that's the $23,968,406. The amount then available to the city is $12,906,065. The INS portion is $41,553,155. 50% percentage participation for the INS, for a project cost amount of $20,776,578, and then a total projected amount to the city of $20,776,000. And do y'all have any questions?
Okay.
All right. Any questions for Brian? I'll read the caption for the ordinance that's in your package. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Willow Park, Texas, designating a geographic area within the extraterritorial limits of the city as a reinvestment zone pursuant to Chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code to be known as Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 2, City of Willow Park, Texas, describing the boundaries of the zone, creating a board of directors for the zone, establishing a tax increment fund for the zone, containing findings related to the creation of the zone, providing a date for the termination of the zone, providing that the zone take effect immediately upon passage of the ordinance, providing a severability clause, and providing an effective date. Do we have a motion or any other questions or discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the creation of tax increment reinvestment zone number 2, the zone consisting of approximately 317 acres of land generally located south of IH-20, west of FM 1187, and north of East Bankhead Highway within the extraterritorial limits of the City of Willow Park, authorizing issuance of notice and providing a preliminary project plan and finance plan prepared by the city's TERS administrator pursuant to Chapter 311 Texas Code.
Right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you very much. Item number 5, discussion and action to adopt a revised ordinance ordering the May 3rd, 2025 general election with updated polling location. Is that you,
Mayor
Tony?
Pro Tem and Council, this is the original ordinance was presented to City Council.
Hold on, Tony, did you
Oh,
have,
excuse me, I'm sorry.
you want to make,
Yes, she has it. I'm speaking for her.
why don't you go ahead and speak?
Thank you.
The amended ordinance for this agenda item was not included in the agenda packet. May the Willow Park citizens have a copy, please? How much was added to the original quote of $3,500 by adding the one-day, election day voting at the Willow Park Safety Building? And what is the total cost of the 03 May election with just election day voting? The first several years that I lived in Willow Park, the city afforded its citizens 2 weeks of early voting and election day voting in the old Ranch House Road City Hall. If the council chooses to add the 6 days, already established 6 days, of early voting before the 03 May voting day, what would be the additional cost for those 6 days of early voting? How is the Hudson Oaks Safety Building qualified as a consistent place for all Parker County voting? What would it take to have a location in Willow Park designated as a consistent, permanent Parker County voting place, as is the Hudson Oaks Safety Building? It seems, since the city of Willow Park is the second largest city of population and of voters in Parker County, the citizens of Willow Park need to be accommodated with a voting place for all their voting needs. May I humbly suggest the Willow Park City Council consider adding the already established 6 days of early voting in Willow Park to this agenda item establishing 2025 voting for Willow Park. Thank you.
The original ordinance was presented to City Council and approved on January 14th of 2025, but amended here to designate the polling location of the Willow Park Public Safety Building, 101 Stagecoach Trail, Willow Park.
Just to go through some of KJ's concerns and questions, the amended ordinance is in the packet.
It's transposed.
It's right-
The brief is behind the ordinance.
Yes, it's in there. I'm looking at it off the website. The original quote of $3,500 by adding 1 day to the Willow Park, I think the total cost on this is going to be roughly, is Michelle here? She was here for a second. I think Cricket said total cost is going to be $7,500 max.
Yeah,
Probably.
and that was the max, yes.
Yeah. So it'll be about $7,500 max. This contract's to conduct the election through the Parker County Elections Office, so Cricket runs this election. We're contracting with her for that. Pat, I'm assuming the 6-day period is per the election code cited in the ordinance?
Yes.
What you're talking about is general election, which is a different, the November elections and the primary elections are 2-week early voting periods. Municipal elections typically a 6-day early voting period.
I wasn't asking that. The 6 days that have already been established for this as
Mhm.
early voting, Willow Park citizens have to go down to Hudson Oaks for the early voting.
No, that's not what this ordinance says at all. Section 3, actually, excuse me. Section 4 of the ordinance, the polling location for early day shall be at the Willow Park Public Safety Building, 101 Stagecoach Trail, Willow Park, Texas, in accordance with Election Code 41.031B, Texas Election Code. Said polling places shall be open between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Tuesday, April 22nd, Monday, April 28th.
So it is for the 6 days of early voting and the election day, and the total is 7,500.
Roughly, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Excellent.
Yes, ma'am. To your other questions, you're going to need to contact the Parker County Elections Office. Cricket sets those other elections, and there are different requirements that the state puts on for what we call their elections, primaries, and general elections.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Brian or Tony? I'll read the ordinance caption. An ordinance ordering a general municipal election to be held on May 3rd, 2025, for the purpose of electing certain municipal officers for the city of Willow Park, specifically mayor and city council members for place 1 and place 2, designating a polling place within the municipal limits, appointing a presiding election judge and an alternate presiding election judge, establishing other procedures for the conduct of the election, providing a severability clause, providing for publication of notice, and providing for an effective date. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion as presented.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? All right, thank you very much. Item number 6, discussion and action to authorize a change in signatories for the certificate of deposits at Texas First Bank.
Yes, we have one, excuse me, I'm sorry, Matt.
No, I didn't know if it was Andy or you.
We have one financial instrument at Texas First Bank. It's a CD. It had Candy as the sole authorized signature on it. Typically in December, we got the bank statements. So when Jake went to go get the bank statements in January, we discovered that she's the only authorized signature on the account. So we need action from the governing body to remove Candy and add me and Andy Saylor as authorized signatures.
All right, any other questions, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to remove Candy Scott as authorized signature and add Brian Grimes and Andy Saylor as authorized signature for all accounts at Texas First Bank.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you very much. Item number 7, discussion and action to adopt a resolution approving the 2025 Steering Committee membership assessment for cities served by Encore.
Pat, you want to handle this?
Sure. This is, we've been a member of this committee for, this group for several years now.
Yes.
And it basically serves to keep us kind of in the fray on issues involving Encore. And so that's, I recommend our continued participation. It gives us a seat at the table, and dues are very reasonable, and it's really a valued group to be a part of.
All right, any other questions for Pat? Do we have a motion? Item number 7.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution removing the 2025 Steering Committee membership assessment for the cities served by Encore.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Thank you very much. Item number 8, discussion and action to authorize staff to post employment position for police chief.
So, with the action taken at the January 23rd meeting, we are going to advertise for a chief of police position. You have the job description in front of you. It's very similar to the job description we posted previously. It has been updated from a salary standpoint, which is the same salary that we have budgeted right now. Same qualifications, generally speaking. I don't think we changed anything.
We didn't.
And so staff would like to advertise as soon as possible at TML. I think there's a chief of police association. We may advertise on the website. We're not going to consult with them for any hiring. And then any other websites that we may feel like we can get some quality applicants from.
All right, any other questions for Brian? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to authorize staff to post employment position for chief of police as presented to us in this packet.
Description?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a section, and a second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? All right, thank you very much. Before we go into executive, I would just like to apologize. I have another commitment this evening, so when we go into executive session, it is likely that I will not be the one bringing us out. Our alternate Mayor Pro Tem will take us out of executive session, so I appreciate him stepping in for that. But at that executive session, it is anticipated that all or a portion of the discussion of the foregoing items will be conducted in closed executive session under authority of the Section 551 of the Texas Open Meetings Act. However, no action will be taken on these items until the City Council reconvenes an open session. Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, City of Willow Park versus Half and Associates. Section 551.074, personnel matters. City Council may interview candidates for city secretary position, application review, discussion, and consideration of candidates. Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. 120 El Chico Trail lease agreements. We will adjourn into executive session at 6:29 p.m.
Thank you. Good evening. Coming out of executive session at 7:21 p.m. Council will take no action coming out of executive. Time for city council or city manager comments.
Anything? I do have one announcement I'd like to make. About a month ago, 6 weeks ago, the Aledo ISD Architecture 2 class came and visited with Randy Law about codes and ordinances and, you know, how to do things the right way when you go to build a building and what to look for out of city codes. That was well received, and I think we went and reciprocated back with them and did some project at Aledo ISD. That meeting spurred on another unique project that I'm glad to announce that the Aledo ISD Architecture 2 class will be helping in design the bathroom at Kingsgate Park. And so this will be their class project. Ma'am? The Architecture 2 class will be helping in the design of the bathroom at Kingsgate Park.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And so we'll have the kids work in coherence with our staff, and we look forward to seeing their designs and what they come up with.
I know I'm not supposed to do this, but will they give us a report? Will the citizens get to hear their report?
I'm assuming so, yes, ma'am. This is literally, we just announced it, and so we don't think we have all the fine details worked out yet, but we're excited to announce that. One thing I want to put on your radar, Looking ahead, March 11th is our first meeting of the month. That is also spring break. And so we need to know for quorum purposes if you intend to be here or if you're going to be gone and whatnot. And next meeting will be February the 11th.
Any other comments? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Any second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, council dismissed.